Continue this conversation. Congresswoman Nancy Mace, a Republican from South Carolina, joining us now, also the daughter of a retired Army general. So thank you for your father's service. What do you think the response is among Republicans today and in Congress to the news of Colin Powell's passing?
I think most of us are shocked to hear of Colin Powell's passing. And for us, whether you agreed or disagreed with them on his foreign policy philosophies, it is sort of marks an end to an era, right? As your previous interview mentioned, an era where you could have the American experiment, where you could debate ideas without fighting with one another, without picking fights, literally either in the halls of Congress or the streets of your neighborhood. He was a true statesman, and he broke barriers for his entire life. And he was a true leader in the United States. And to see him and see his passing just come and go so quickly is really a shock. I think that will be reverberated throughout Washington today and throughout the entire country.
What do you think it will take for us to get back to those days? You know, is it the passing of a leader like Colin Powell, who had this ability to connect with people from different backgrounds, different viewpoints? What shift needs to happen inside the halls of Congress and from classrooms to high rises to homes all across our nation in order to get us back to seeking that common ground, seeking that middle of the road, being able to disagree without being disagreeable?
Well, it takes courage, right? It takes leadership. It takes someone who's willing to stand up and be strong no matter what the repercussions are. And I think for many of us, that's what Colin Powell represented. He was less concerned about what people thought of him and more concerned about how can he help lead our country during very trying times, in that case, post 9/11. But that leadership is really missing. I think it's missing on both sides of the aisle. You know, we're leading with anger and fear rather than with courage and confidence. And it's always one side or the other is bad. That's just how we're leading our country right now, as opposed to, well, what's good about our country? What things can we work on together? And it's very difficult to do that because that's where we are culturally, in this very divided, divisive, vitriolic place. But it's incumbent upon everyone who's elected on both sides of the aisle to do better for the American people, and he was a great example of that.
You know, I'm reading a couple of quotes this morning, throughout the morning, his words still living on after his passing. One thing that he said was, trying to get everyone to like you is a sign of mediocrity. And so I think for a lot of people, while they see this divisiveness, there is still this pandering that's going on. Colin Powell, even though he, was questioned on a couple of points during his career, certainly didn't take the time to get involved in the drama, in the infighting. He stood by what he believed in. Do you think that politicians today, that those we have in leadership at the highest offices in Washington, have somewhat softened? I mean, we hear a lot of the talking, but in terms of being resolute in their convictions, do you think that we're lacking that kind of leadership?
For sure, and I think there's a lot of rhetoric out there, and you see it on Republicans and Democrats and on their Twitter feeds, people wanting to become having a more of a social media influencer type of values versus what are we doing to help protect the freedoms our country was founded on, and being very inconsistent, right? It depends on who's in power, and we're going to say that and do things based on who's in power versus the ideology that makes this country great, and preserving those values regardless of who's in power. That lack of consistency is one of the reasons that Congress has such a low rating with the American people, because of that kind of hypocrisy. And that's one of the reasons I got into politics, right, is being able to stand up and being a strong voice regardless of what the outcome or repercussions have been. It's important for us on both sides of the aisle to do that, but so few ever do.
But there is so much pressure to, I think, in a lot of people's industries, it's not just politics, but there's a lot of pressure for folks to play the game. And it seemed like Colin Powell refused to play games, but instead made decisions based on policy, and made policy of supreme importance over party lines or affiliation or obligation. Do you think that his death will actually serve as a hallmark, as a potential turning point? I mean, I would pray and hope that this was not just going to be a blip on the radar and his life was forgotten or in vain. Do you think that this will inspire leadership to get on board, to return again to some of the things that we're now finding he was famous for, which is working with people of different belief systems and different platforms?
I would love to see his life after death being a hallmark or being a beacon of light for our country. But it's going to take Republicans and Democrats to come together. And it's difficult to see that happening overnight right now. This is an issue that's been brewing for years, maybe even decades, and reached an apex in the last 4 or 5 years. It's going to take people who are willing to put those differences aside. And I'm proud of the record that I have in reaching across the aisle for the 10 or 20% of ways and ideas and policies that I agree with the left on. But too few people do that right now. But I do believe it is an opportunity, and I would hope it would be an opportunity for more of that kind of work in the weeks and months and even years ahead, because our nation is in pain. Mm-hmm. And we will continue to promulgate this pain and live in this pain and this suffering until we figure out a way to work together and to stop clamoring to get the most fundraising, the craziest tweets out there, and actually work towards the ideas and the campaign promises that we need to deliver on.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace, thank you so much from South Carolina. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more Morning in America right after this.